Welcome. So great to be with you on a Friday. Day before Delaware. Day before Jason Lord steals the football show. He gets it done. So there you are. By the way, U.S. basketball
did see that.
Lost to Germany 113-111. They lose in the semifinals of the FIBA tournament. Their second loss in the tournament. They also lost to Lithuania. Germany will play Serbia for the championship. Yep. Really nothing like the quality of the NBA. No, I'm just kidding. It's a world game now. The Detroit Lions, you can have the greatest quarterback going. He can only throw the ball. The number of drops and bad plays by the Kansas City receivers, this is what I felt plagued Green Bay for years with Aaron Rodgers. When they had Devontae Adams, wow. When they lost Devontae Adams, whoa. All right? You can be a great quarterback if guys A can't get open or B flat out can't catch it. Kadarius Toney, right? Giants cut him, good reason. I know he had a great stretch run and he had that great punt return in the Super Bowl.
Plays in Super Bowl,
right? But he's not. I mean, when the Giants released him last year, I was like, "Yep, good, okay." No thought process there. Just But guess what? He's like Jalen Reagor. Okay, what's happened with Reagor? Okay, first-round pick. What have I said a million times? In the NFL, if you are a top 3-round pick, you have to play your way out of the league. Right? You're going to get so many chances because people still see that potential in you, even though you've proven over and over again you can't reach it. If you're a 4 through 7 or a free agent, you have to play your way into the league. You have to earn your spot in the league. Well, Tony, Sky Moore, they struggled last night. Detroit took advantage of it. Let's give them credit. When it came time to be a power team, they were a power team. And the Lions picked up where they left off from last season. Hutchinson obviously is a terrific player off the edge, and then they move him sometimes to defensive tackle. I thought their 5 DB set worked really well for them last night in the sub package. Offensively, they ran the ball well. I thought they used Gibbs in a smart way last night. Didn't have to carry the entire load. Incorporated him into the pass game. For the most part, Goff was accurate. And anybody says, well, Mahomes threw an interception, was run back for a touchdown. It went through Tony's hands. It couldn't have been thrown any better. I mean, you sit there like, perfect pass, right? And he gets credited for an interception. No, it wasn't his. No. So that's the start of the NFL season. Great start for Detroit. They will take however they could get it. They got it done. They made fewer mistakes. I thought Detroit played smart football. I thought they played physical football. They were a determined group. And they're the ones that were on the road last night and took care of business. Tonight, Illinois will play Kansas. It's on ESPN2. Now, there may be some of you saying, well, wait a minute. It's a Big Ten game. Why is it on ESPN? No. Kansas is the home team. So it always reverts to the home team and their TV rights. And ESPN, along with Fox, have the TV rights to the Big 12. So that's why it's on ESPN2 tonight, and that'll be at 7:30 this evening. It's Penn State's next opponent. And be really, for me, the really first good chance I've had to look at them. So that's the... Oh, great, now you're diseased? What's going on here? God. I have to deal with so many issues with you. Right? What I need to now wear an N95 mask to be near you? What's going on here? God, you scare me. And high school football tonight, and this is where you step in. Tell me all about your big game, your showdown tonight.
I think State College, first of all, obviously, they're going to look to get back on track. They had a tough loss last week, a little bit of a heartbreaker. I think they faced adversity for the first time, which I think was good, as always good in the regular season when you get that chance. And Hollidaysburg is an improved team, but still has a few holes. 1-1 on the year. Always a short trip, a good road game for State College because of that. I think the fans have the opportunity. Hollidaysburg is going to give them a game.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, Coach Homer Delatre's kid is one of the guys I think you look out for Hollidaysburg. I think they're a strong team. I think State College, obviously, the heavy favorite going into the game. And it's a matter of them bouncing back. I think it's going to be an interesting 2 weeks for them because they have Hollidaysburg, and then you have that game with Altoona coming up next week here at Memorial Field. So that's going to be an interesting game, but 2 matchups where you're going to have close travel. I think that's always a great thing when it comes to high school. Helps a lot, helps a ton, and it's great for the fans.
Yeah. Well, there we go. And that's and Adam Sheets will be with you tonight. So you do your usual great job, and looking forward to it.
Tiger Stadium's always a great facility. Renovated a lot of things in Hollidaysburg a couple of years back.
Good.
Coaches the AD, Homer Delatre. I just call him Coach Homer. It's much easier. He smiles. He's fine with it. That works for me.
You always take the easy way out. I mean, always. You specialize in the easy way out. It's stunning.
I give Mark Snyder the credit. He's the one that came up with the name, and we just stuck with it.
Perfect. Mercy me. Yeah. So that is tonight. High school football on a Friday night. And we'll see how the weather plays out tonight.
Yeah, that's going to be the factor. I think that's going to be interesting. Let's hope. Yeah, I think these players are very used to playing in the elements one way or another, but there's the element you can't control, that being lightning, that will delay the game. So hopefully we can avoid that, but we shall see. Forecast is looking a little iffy.
Or you could also avoid protesters. U.S. Open Tennis Championship last night. Semifinals, Coco Gauff was in action last night, won in straight sets. But they had to delay the match. They'd started. And they had to delay the match 48 minutes because an environmental protester, not on the court, but in the stands, had glued their feet to the cement. Now, there were 2 others with this individual. I don't know if it was a him or her. And they didn't. They were escorted out. And then they had to work to make sure, without hurting this person, get them out of there. But they stopped the match. So over here in the back, okay, I just have a quick question for you. Exactly what did you accomplish with this? Did you suddenly endear yourself to 24,000 people, or did you thoroughly tick off 24,000 people in the stands?
The latter.
People watching on television. Did you endear yourself and your cause to people watching, or did you tick off maybe a couple million people watching? Okay, exactly. How did you advance your cause by doing this last night? I'm just asking for friends.
That's it.
Right? How did you advance your cause by ticking off everybody who actually watched it?
Yeah, I would say there is good reason, and I have no problem with protesters, none, but there's good reason, very good reason. Most of them protest outside the venue because they know if they go inside that venue and they act up in any way, and I'm not saying he acted up, but I'm saying he held up the game. You hold up an event, it doesn't matter what it is, that people paid money for, in a world where people are crunched for time, you hold up that event in any way, you are not going to help your cause. I can promise you that. You are not going to help your cause. You're going to tick quite a few people off, and people are not going to be interested in what you have to say whatsoever.
But at the same time,
none.
I mean, people did not come there to see
exactly.
it.
They came to watch the game.
They came to watch the game. They
have families to go home to.
I remember I think it was an NBA playoff game in Minnesota. Somebody glued themselves to the floor. I'm watching on TNT, and I'm sitting there thinking, they're playing at the Target Center. Target Center is what, 19, 20,000, something like that. I said, did you endear yourself to the 19 or 20,000 people there, or did you tick them off? To the 1.5 to 2 million watching on TNT?
Right.
Did you endear yourself to them and make them sympathetic to your cause? Okay. Where's the common sense here?
Right.
Right? Okay? There's no common sense. It has nothing to do with what I think about your cause.
No.
It has zero to do with it. Right?
It's how you present that cause and where you present that cause and the manner in which you present that cause.
Hey, that's unreal.
Yeah, completely.
And that was the story. Last night, they stopped it for 48 minutes. And again, the individuals involved in this, whatever you may think of their cause, did absolutely zero to advance the cause except make people mad.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you're going to do if you're at a sporting event or a concert or any kind of event that holds people up. Right. Whether that is the athlete, whether that is the fan.
Or traffic. Exactly.
When you do any of the above, you are not helping your cause in any way.
No.
At all. There is a reason 99.9% of protesters are outside protesting. Because they know they can do everything they can to get the message across, and they're not interrupting what's going on inside.
Right. Peacefully.
Exactly.
Peacefully.
Peacefully.
If you do something peacefully, people are going to respect it.
People are going to respect it. They may not agree, but they're going to respect it.
And you may get people converted over because they respect it.
Absolutely.
Whatever. But
and you're not distracting or interrupting what's going on.
But that, no, I don't think so. I think you did to your credit. If you wanted to set your cause back or make people mad about your cause, you accomplished that goal. Well done.
Absolutely.
Now let's get to the next one, and that is Tez Walker, North Carolina. He has been told by the NCAA, you can't play this year. Well, okay. Here we go. This is where the lack of leadership, and we have a tremendous void in leadership in so many areas, in my personal opinion, and the lack of common sense, which is a gigantic problem as well, all converge together at the same time on the Tez Walker situation. The rule is you're allowed to transfer anywhere you want one time. The second time now, they put the rule in January, that the second time you have to sit out a year. Okay. Unless you can get a waiver. Walker applied for a waiver. We'll explain that in a moment. It was denied. Walker went to college. He went to a school, and it turned out, voila, because of COVID, shut down. Can't play. So he goes to, I think, North Carolina Central the next year. Same thing happens. Doesn't play. So he finally transfers to Kent State. So he's on the same team with Dante Cephas and all those guys, right? Sean Lewis, who's now the offensive coordinator of Colorado, is his head coach, and everybody, a lot of respect people have for Sean, and they should. He's really a terrific coach. And then Sean Lewis, he's not fired at Kent State. He leaves Kent State to take the OC job at Colorado, goes to Boulder. So a lot of guys on Kent State now start transferring out. And Walker's grandmother is ill. And he's from North Carolina. So he transfers to North Carolina because of her situation and because, his coach left at Kent State. He wanted to transfer. The NCAA is saying by the letter of the law, because he transferred from North Carolina Central to Kent State, he has to sit out a year, even though he didn't play a single game because of COVID situations. He didn't play a single game. Where's the common sense? Hey, don't give me this bucket of you-know-what, that you're following the letter of the law. Okay? That's not the letter of the law. The letter of the law allows me the discretion to look at it and go, okay, you know what? You never played, so to me, you only played at one school. You stayed there for a couple of years, and now you're transferring out. This, to me, would be your first actual transfer as a player. And you know what? I'm sympathetic about your grandmother. What's wrong with that logic? But they're doing this left and right, where they've now gone back on the waivers. And I used to make the running joke that before they put the rules in, waivers are the equivalent of handing out water at a 10K. They just like, here you go, here you go, here you go. They handed out waivers left and right. Then they finally put the rule about the one-time transfer. Well, now they put in the rule. They then added to the rule in January. Second transfer, you have to sit out a year. Now, he had transferred to North Carolina before that rule was put in, like by about 3 weeks.
A couple weeks, yep.
Yeah. And Mac Brown's right, and Jay Billis is right. This is a disgrace. To me, every case is an entity unto itself. It does not fall into a blanket, these are the rules, we're following the rules. Like, excuse me, over here. Okay, what is your job again? I just did the NCAA basketball tournament. I saw all these commercials that it's about the student athlete. Did I read that wrong? Did I? I saw they played in the arena. It was on the scoreboard, right? It was on the ribbon board, across the way from when I was sitting. 97%. We're all about the student athlete. Really? I think you're more about you, right? Okay, rules are more important to you than when rules become more important than people. I'm not advocating breaking rules, but you have to have common sense as to how a rule is applied. There's no common sense at all as to how the NCAA applied the rule to this player. None. Zero. Right? He never played except at Kent State because the games were canceled. So he never played. So he only played at Kent State. So it should be, it's twofold. It can be looked at as a first-time actual transfer as a player. And what about the guy's grandmother? That's why he's going back closer. And I sit there and think, what? Who is running this show? Okay? You just can't sit there in a sterile world and go, no. That's not leadership. That's not common sense. Right? Now, if you're looking around and you think there's something squirrely with it, all right, then you should say no. Okay? He's been there since January. They've had time to look at it. Okay? What took 8 months? What? It doesn't take that long to find out. Right? Here's one for you. Make a phone call.
That's too much. Can't do that. Can't do that.
You call and find out how Grandma's doing. No, we wouldn't want to do that.
Can't do that.
Honest to goodness, I give them credit. They give every appearance that they really don't try.
Give every appearance they really don't try, and give every possible appearance to make themselves look even worse than they already are. That's the other part of it.
You can't sit either. I don't even know if they're back in the office there or not. I don't know. I mean, they very well may not be in the office. They may be working from home. I don't know what the situation is in Indianapolis. But let's just use it as an office example. You're telling me that you get this case in front of you, and I'm sure they get a lot of these cases.
Sure.
You take them probably one at a time.
Is what they should do instead of grouping them together like they do.
Instead of going, he was at this school, he's out. No, every circumstance has its own, story. Find out in a short period of time. It doesn't take long to look into the story. Don't make it seem like, well, we're going to look at this. This is going to take weeks. A couple of phone calls, you're done. You know, what happened at these two schools? Well, because of COVID, we couldn't play. Oh, okay. All right, I understand it. Oh, by the way, my coach left. Took the job at Colorado. Oh, okay. My grandmother's sick. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. If you don't mind me asking, what is, how's she doing and what's her problem? Right? And it's up to you as to whether you want to answer it or not. Right? What does that take?
Yeah.
It doesn't take anything. To sit there and when it's all said done, say, you know what? I can see why you wanted to do this. And you know what? It's okay. Why don't you play? Now there have been some people that said, you know what? The heck with the NCAA. Just play them. Well, guess what? They can knock you out of a bowl game. They can say you used an ineligible player and all your wins are gone. And there's a lot of things they can quote do to you. So you can't just sit there and play them. You can't do that. But what a disgrace.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to sit there and be from 30,000 feet. Look, I laid out what the guy's career is. Okay? I've laid it out for you. It makes no sense at all as to why they did this. And this is not a question of everybody emotionally jumping on the bandwagon. I think any person with common sense, whether you're a North Carolina fan or not, is looking at it saying this doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Makes no sense at all. I mean, stunning. Stunning. I mean, this guy, he was with Dante Cephas in the same receiving room last year. I just don't. Honest to goodness. You look at this stuff and you ask yourself, what in the heck are we doing here? Right? Are there times where it should be denied? Yes. Okay. Are there times where it should be denied? Yes. Because somebody's gaming the system. In other words, like, I think isn't JT Daniels playing this year with Rice?
Yeah.
Yeah. With all due respect to I'm not trying to get on the case of JT Daniels here. All right. But that's the situation where he's on his fourth
you're trying
school.
to avoid. He's on his fourth team. Yeah.
Okay. That should be the person that's sitting out this year, not this kid.
Right.
Right? This kid played 2 years at Kent State. That's it. That's all his playing time. All of it. He didn't play in any other games for anybody else except for Kent State. I'm sorry. To me, that is his lone school. Right? And he's being told, nah, got to sit out. Really? He's a junior right now, too. I mean, that's the other part. He's a junior in eligibility. Hey, he's played 2 full years. He's a junior in eligibility. Oh, how come the other ones didn't count? Oh, okay. What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Or what are they doing? It's not what we're doing. I mean, I've got tremendous sympathy for what's going on with, for him. North Carolina, whatever. I mean, that's, as an organization, they're backing him up. But this is, again, under the lack of common sense. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget when the Ford kid, tight end, transferred from Georgia to Illinois. And he transferred to Illinois because his grandmother, grandparent, something like that, wasn't doing well. They wouldn't let him play. No, got to sit out a year. Okay. Oh. When you make the decisions, are you sitting in a sterile room?
Yeah, that's...
Holy mackerel. It really... It's the kind of thing... You are supposed to be all about the student athlete. And I realize that certain things have run amok here. So I understand that. I'm trying to think whose fault that may have been. Oh, that may have been your fault.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who caused the problem? Oh, actually, you did because you kept kicking the can down the road. Okay. Could have got a hold of it.
Never took leadership.
Could have got
any kind of charge.
Could have got a hold of it 10 years ago, but didn't do it. Kept losing in court. Wait
until NIL regulations come out at some point in some time.
Yeah.
When they finally realize there's no sustainability on it. Oh, you know what? We should have probably done something about this 4 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, depending on how late it takes us to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. To their credit, they've never won a case.
When you're 0 for life in court, that's not good.
No.
0 for life in court.
No, that's not a lawyer you want to hire.
No. So that's great start. Oh well. By the way, Indiana State plays Indiana tonight. That'll be in Bloomington at 7 on BTN. Illinois, Kansas tonight, ESPN2 at 7:30 this evening.
Anxious to see what Altmaier can do for Illinois. I have not had the chance really to see him.
I've never seen him play.
I've really not.
That's why I want to get a good look at tonight's game, and I realize you'll be doing,
I'll have to watch highlights. But I think from what I've seen in terms of highlights, he reminds me a little bit of Green, a better version of Green, which is going to be a guy that's going to be able to get out of the pocket, going to move around a little bit.
Okay.
So I think that's something that I'm looking forward to seeing.
Right.
And seeing what he can do, but have not had the chance really to see him at the college level.
I've never seen him play.
Only seen him at the high school level. I haven't really seen him at the college level yet at all.
Yeah, I've never seen him play, so this will be my first chance to watch him tonight. And I'll keep your game on the radio in the background. When Adam talks, I'll go, oh, good.
Yeah. Now when I talk.
Oh, are you going to talk? No. But there you go. There's the...
I went to the same broadcasting school Monty from Major League went to.
You do a good job, Monty.
I think they had Monty. No, he's not the best of the...
Colorado's in the world for nothing. Was it Major League 2?
Where he said, I heard that. Dynamite dropping Monty.
Dynamite dropping Monty. That broadcast school's really paying off.
Then he had to take over, said fly ball caught.
He goes, Monty, I'm in the bag. Boom. And Euchre slams his head down. He goes, fly ball. Caught.
The ironic part of it all, the team they rival in that movie does draw about 1,412 in the White Sox.
Right. Well, then there's the one, I don't know if it was Major League 1 or 2, where Monty's blowing in the bag.
I think it was the first one.
I think
it was the first one.
Blowing in the bag because he's hyperventilating. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I'm telling you, it's only a gut feeling. My gut tells me that Euchre ad-libbed a lot of that stuff.
There's no doubt. Yeah, there's no doubt.
Like, great cut. No, we're not going to do it again. We're good. It was really good the first time. You guys got it? Got it. Oh, my goodness. Okay. The game tomorrow is on Peacock. And we did explain yesterday what Seven Mountains is going to do. The game will still be on 99.5 The Bus, but it will be on a 9-second delay. Now, can they remove the translator? Yeah, but it takes a couple of weeks. They're like, forget it. We're not going to do that. But they're going to then also offer it on 103.7 and 1450 live, no delay. So 103.7 and 1450, no delay. Okay? So that's what they worked out. But the game's on Peacock tomorrow. I mean, there are certain subtleties to this. And here's a subtlety for you. All those booths up at Beaver Stadium, are they going to all be on Peacock?
That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. That's a good question.
I'm asking.
That's a good question.
Or are you going to pipe in the stadium feed?
That's a good
all
question.
Those TVs at Beaver Stadium
That's
internally.
a very good question.
And again, it does. I could care less because I don't.
Yeah,
the only time I ever reference.
Yeah, my focus is on the field.
The only time I ever reference it is like if there's a replay. Of, especially if they're like, it didn't come up in the game on Saturday night. I don't think they replayed anything that was even close to being an issue. So I never once looked at the replay, like not even on touchdowns. I didn't even look at the replay and say, oh, hey, what happened on that play? The only time I look at it is when they say, hey, look, I guess they went under the hood once. One time he did, because I made some remark about, well, he's going to go over and look at the little TV. It's great. And I can't even remember what the play was.
I can't either. It wasn't the punt, right? Or the fair catch?
No,
it wasn't that?
No.
I'm trying to think of what it was.
I can't remember what the play was. It was not significant.
Couldn't have been.
But it doesn't matter.
No.
But I'm saying that's the only time I look.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to, I wouldn't be looking at it anyway. But my question is, in all the suites and everything on the west side, are they going to all be on the streaming for Peacock?
That's a good question. I think the replay was like Green being short of the first down by a half a yard, or somebody being short by a half yard. They went for it on fourth down and got it. It came back to me a little bit. I think that's what it was. I can't entirely remember, but
it could have been. Yeah, because obviously they've done the standard after a touchdown that he get in.
I think it was on a third down. He was short of a first down.
Because you notice the referee doesn't participate in that.
Right.
Doesn't even participate. They just have to call down from the booth, hey, he's in, you're all set,
But that's an interesting point. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
What the heck?
Can everybody operate?
I mean,
there are a lot of people that are old school. They don't even know how to operate streaming.
But in the club, in the suites, and on the west side upstairs, and this, or let's face it, I think they have TVs at concession stands, right?
Sure.
Are they going to be on the Peacock broadcast?
Oh, you're going to have to.
Or are you going to pipe in the stadium feed? I mean, you can pipe in the stadium feed.
Yeah, you can pipe in the stadium feed. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even think of that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me.
Well, no, it doesn't matter to me either. But I think when a fan's going to get food or going to the restroom, absolutely. That's going to be interesting.
I don't know. Don't know.
This is the first time, I think 2003 is the last time.
2003 is the last time they weren't on over-the-air TV.
Yeah.
On linear TV. This game, ironically, we were talking about Tez Walker was against Kent State.
Kent State,
Yeah, now Tez. Tez was 1 year old at the time. But that was the last time it wasn't on TV.
Yep.
Linear TV. Mm-hmm. I mean, this will be on TV.
Yeah, it'll be on. Yep.
Brendan Berg, Michael Robinson.
Yep.
I'm sure they'll do a great job.
Sure.
But, holy cow.
Yeah. That is a good point.
Because, I know, let's face it, I might be a tad old school.
Same.
Stop with the jokes.
Same.
Stop with the jokes.
They don't throw as many jokes my way, but I'm the same way. I'm old school with a lot of stuff. I still take notes. I don't use the computer a lot of times.
No. I mean, I'm able to switch and get into my stream.
Yeah.
I mean, to watch Amazon Prime.
Sure. Oh, I do that. But but in terms of keeping stats and stuff, I don't even bother with that. I take the manual.
Oh no,
I do that.
I use my iPad as a stat monitor.
Yep.
That's why I got the 12.9 size. I got the largest size. That way, Jack and I could both read it.
Well, I use the stat. If the stats are on the computer, I do look at. But in terms of when I keep them at the high school, I write them down.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah,
same.
But so I mean, getting into Amazon Prime to watch Thursday Night Football or a series that I really enjoyed was and is Jack Ryan with John Krasinski.
Yep.
Right. And so I can back and forth. But what I always find is the pain in the neck. Is that like with any game? I'm watching the Lions-Chiefs game last night. I switched over to watch a little bit of the U.S. Open Tennis Championship for a period of time. Okay, I switched back. So I kind of pop back and forth during commercial breaks. What's really hard with streaming is Okay, I got to go through a process to get out of it. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. And look, Louisville's playing Murray State. Finally, after, I don't know, a couple minutes, it finally allows me to get there. Okay, well, now I got to go back. So I've got to re-enter all the stuff to get back in and go, this is a pain in the neck to do it. I don't think I've ever watched anything on Netflix. I don't think I've ever watched anything on Hulu.
Nope. Same on both.
I don't think
I've used Prime. I've used
Amazon
ESPN
Prime.
Plus.
No,
I've used
never used Plus.
I've used Paramount. I've used Peacock.
No, I've never used Peacock, Paramount. I've never used Plus. The only one I've ever used is Amazon Prime, and that's for the NFL games and to watch. And again, I watched all 4 seasons of Jack Ryan, so I've done that. But that's been it.
Yep.
All right. And now I'm watching, when I'm binge watching something like that, like when that came out at the end of, I think it came out on 3 consecutive weekends. And I was on vacation for one of the weeks, so I think I watched all of it when I came back. So I binge watched 6 programs. All right. And there's no thought about getting out of them. There's no thought about I'm going to change out of the series. I'm watching it.
Right.
All right. As opposed to a game like you're watching the Colts and Broncos game last year. I mean, you're not sitting there saying, I'd like to switch out and see what other alternatives might be out there besides the Colts and Broncos where the score mirrored the number of first downs. It's not good. Okay. It's 5-3, and there have been 8 first downs in the game. Great. I think I'll stick all the way through. But then in the fourth quarter got comical, and Al Michaels was a riot. He says, this is so bad. He says, you don't want to turn away.
He's not wrong.
And he wasn't wrong.
No.
It did get that way.
Sometimes it does reach that point.
But we will see how well this is received. Now, I know that Michigan and East Carolina, what was interesting about it, the story on Michigan, East Carolina was like record number for Peacock Sports or something like that, but they never said what the number was.
Yeah, good point.
Okay, I don't know. What does that mean?
Yeah.
If you don't give me the number for some perspective, I don't know what it means. And you sit there and like, okay, I've said this many times. You can't keep forcing stuff on people.
No.
And you let it naturally happen. By the way, tomorrow on ESPN Game Day, now I won't get a chance to see this because game day is on from 9 a.m. to whatever. Well, at 9 a.m. I've got to be. I know they're talking about some problems on Atherton Street tomorrow, getting into the west side, and I park on the west side. So I'm going to have to leave probably right when it starts, just to make sure I get in to be on the air at 10:30. But I may have to leave earlier than that. But they're going to do a feature on Eli Gold. I know I've mentioned Eli a couple of times. He is such a good guy. And I've known Eli we first met in 1988, I think. First time. Crossed paths many times over the years. Just a good guy. Won a battle with cancer. And for all of you out there who have been touched by it, you know how hard fought those victories are when they happen, because unfortunately we don't have a 100% success rate. And that, in that vein, by the way, the reverse drawing is going to be next Thursday night at Medler Field, Lebrano Park. They're going to do the reverse drawing there. In a tribute to Danny Rollis, all that great food over the years, and Danny succumbed to this. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
But they're going to do a feature on Eli Gold, which is that'll be great.
Agreed.
At some point I would like to see it, but they're going to do a special tribute to him. It's going to be called The Gold Standard, and it's going to be tomorrow on game day. So it's really cool they're doing that. He really deserves it. Phenomenal career. I mean, he was the voice of NASCAR on radio for a long time. And as I've said before, because I've talked to him enough, You know what his favorite sport is?
I would have guessed racing, but
Well, he's done racing,
Yeah.
Alabama football, basketball, baseball, softball. You know what his favorite sport is?
of the ones he did, or
No.
favorite sport, probably horse racing.
Hockey.
Hockey? Yeah.
Eli grew up in New York
As
a Rangers fan.
Nice.
And he, when he was younger, had season tickets. As he says, Steve, I was in the last row at Madison Square
Nice.
Garden. Right? And at one point, when Birmingham had a team in the WHA, Eli did the play-by-play for it.
Yeah.
But he's always been a huge hockey
Nice.
fan. And you would not think about that as a guy who's been with Alabama now for, 35, 36, 37 years, associated with Alabama football, basketball. Now, he doesn't do basketball any longer. Chris Stewart does that.
Right.
And Chris is now doing the road games. Eli
Yes.
is only going to do the home games during the regular season. But, yeah. But they're going to do a piece on him tomorrow, and that's really
awesome.
great they're doing it because
Yeah.
he is
Looking
beloved
forward
down
to it.
there. He's beloved down there. He is justifiably beloved down there. He's just a really great guy who's a terrific announcer. And, when Nick Saban gets up in front of the media and makes a big deal about him coming back, it shows you, deep down how he's
Yeah.
beloved within the program, too.
Absolutely.
And that's great.
Yeah.
So that'll be tomorrow. And he had to fight. I mean, his medical team was outstanding, but he had to fight hard to come back from this. I mean, he dodged death in doing it.
Yep. Absolutely. And the one thing I would say to the younger broadcasters, listen to the veterans, listen to the stories, because Eli is one that is absolutely incredible when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
And even just talking about that hockey story, he sat in the last row of Madison Square Garden. Hear that second part, because I think a lot of people, I remember when Penn State hockey played there, so many people just stood around saying, what's so special about this place? I'll tell you what's special about this place. It's the Mecca.
Wow.
It is the gold standard for venues in sports that we grew up to. Madison Square Garden is the place,
Yep.
without question. And there may be a day that the Knicks play at the Barclays Center, and that is non-existent anymore.
Yep.
That place was to us what Yankee Stadium was to us, what a lot of places in Philadelphia were to us. But Madison Square Garden, to me, is number one, has forever been. And I remember the first time I went there vividly, and it is a very special place.
I'll never. In 2008, I was so fortunate. I was able to do a Rose Bowl. It was the 8-9 season. I was able to do a Rose Bowl
Yeah.
and an NIT championship at Madison Square Garden. So I was in those two venues within about 3 months of each other. Like, you look around and you think to yourself,
Yeah.
this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Then in 2016, I did a regular season game at Madison Square Garden.
Yep.
2 weeks later, I did the Rose Bowl. And a week after that, I did a game at the Palestra.
Palestra. Yep.
Like,
Absolutely.
holy mackerel. How fortunate are you to walk into places like this? The Garden has always been
Yep.
really special to me. It's
Absolutely.
just my... And I remember talking to Jim Delaney about it.
Yep.
Because, this is the
Absolutely.
point where they were doing the Big Ten tournament. And I said, Jim, he says, oh, no, you've talked to me about it. He says, it's really special to me, too. That's why.
It always is.
And they had to change the schedule that year. They had to bump the schedule because the Big East had the week. They have a contract. And so, interesting. Here's an interesting article. Okay. Fallen Star. Why 2023 is a make-or-break year for Tony Romo. Right? The NFL season is here, which means it's time to welcome Tony Romo back into our lives. Once touted as a rising star in sports media with the salary to prove it, former Cowboys quarterback enjoyed a spectacular debut upon his arrival at the CBS booth, distinguished himself with charisma and cogent analysis. My goodness, it sounds like you. Romo's insights, often predicting plays before they happen, made him an instant fan favorite, larger-than-life personality poised to become one of the most respected and influential voices of his era. You know who was good at predicting plays? George Paterno.
Yeah.
George was really good at it. While Romo still occupies precious real estate as Jim Nance's weekly co-pilot, he's developed his share of bad habits, reduced to a caricature of a broadcaster he once was. Ugh. Boy, that's kind of harsh.
Yeah.
Veering too much into shtick with awkward tangents unrelated to the game. Romo's regression concerned network executives enough to stage, quote, an intervention last fall, pleading with the 43-year-old to recommit himself amid what had been embarrassing blunders. It says here that Romo isn't the first and surely won't be the last commentator to see his career stagnate after a period of early success, his focus and attention to detail disappearing in a thick cloud of complacency. Citing a perceived lack of preparation and a clumsy reliance on catchphrases, Romo has invited criticism from media members, including Colin Cowherd and Dick Ebersol, the latter suggesting that the CBS analyst had lost his passion for broadcasting. Ebersol said, quote, he's an unbelievably engaging guy. He should have been a terrific, great broadcaster, he lamented in an interview with Chris Wallace. Something's happened since he got in that chair, and it doesn't seem like he's into it. Like he was on his way up. He does not seem to be the storyteller that he should be. That's one theory, though others, namely Cowherd, suspect another culprit, assigning blame to Romo's extracurricular activities, including a golf habit that started as a hobby but soon grew into an obsession, distracting him from his duties at CBS. Says here, needless to say, the narrative surrounding Romo, insert Jason Lord here, has changed dramatically. What? You always want to be compared to Tony Romo. Has changed dramatically, no longer benefiting from built-in excuses like growing pains or the steep learning curve all novice broadcasters are afforded, which is that's a fact.
That's a fair point, yeah.
As polished and camera-ready as any newcomer in recent memory, Romo's curse is that he set the bar too high, drowning under the weight of unrealistic expectations.
That's a very good point.
Right.
Yeah, I would.
Now, see, that's why I give you credit. You set the bar low. Anything you know.
That's right. Anything I do is a bonus. There's no expectation.
You're so good at what you do. You know that. I think the world of you.
Likewise.
What's so frustrating about Romo is he enters his 7th season.
Yeah.
Under the CBS umbrella, is that we know how good he is, a charming, likable presence who, when fully invested, can elevate a broadcast with his deep knowledge of the quarterback position and how offenses operate. The brilliance was on full display in the 2018 AFC Championship game between the Patriots and Chiefs, which is really like his high water mark.
Yep.
So it was a performance widely lauded as Romo's masterpiece, particularly practically willing plays into existence with his clairvoyant wizardry. Romo's heard your complaints, though it doesn't sound like he's fazed by them, dismissing his critics as click-thirsty trolls desperate for attention. Now, some of that is true.
Sure.
That's not true.
That's very true.
All right? There are agendas. People like clicks, Romo expressed to The Athletic when the subject was brought up by Richard Deitch last month. Our job is to go out there and perform like we've done and try always to do our best. I think we've done a great job with that. Now, he's got a great guy with Jim Nance is
certainly
everybody will tell you he's fabulous to work with.
Yeah.
Romo would frame this as taking the high road, though his deflection tactics are too transparent, the article says, living in an unflinching state of denial, unwilling to acknowledge his portrayal as a flawed broadcaster at a career crossroads. Okay. Some accountability would be nice. You know, what incentive does Romo have to do anything more than bare minimum? Because he's got a 10-year deal with CBS that runs through 2030, and he's making like $17 million
he's making quite a bit, yeah.
If Romo doesn't seem hungry or eager to impress as he did when CBS first hired him, it's because he's not. Job security is no obstacle. His pockets are flush with endorsement money from Skechers, Michelob, and Subway. You have a deal with Dollar General, right?
I believe so. Somewhere around there. Yep.
Just checking. And while viewers are free to change the channel if they choose, they likely won't, helpless to kick their crippling addiction to America's favorite sport in all its pageantry and violence, though perhaps they'll watch it on mute or at a bar to avoid Romo's grating commentary. Football represents a paradox. in that sense. It's a popular enough commodity that fans will tune in regardless of who's calling the game, yet networks continue to splurge on splash hires like Romo and Tom Brady, conflating fame and star power with quality. That's where I give Greg Olson a lot of credit. Like,
Same.
how long are you going to be there? How long are you going to be? It was like, I'm working. Hey, Greg Olson works hard.
Yep.
He's very good.
Agreed.
I thought he had a really good Super Bowl, Kevin Burkhardt, good team.
Burkhardt did a great job.
Yep. Fortunately, Romo isn't a lost cause. I'm glad we finally got to the good part.
I was going to say, yeah.
Right? So far, this has been a journey into the tunnel here.
Apart Tony Romo, yeah.
A career reinvention is well within the realm of possibility. Then they talk about how Joe Buck has grown as a broadcaster. I always liked Joe Buck.
I've always loved Joe Buck. At the World Series, Joe Davis did an amazing job with the World Series. Amazing job. It's not the same not hearing Joe Buck's voice call. It really isn't. And that's Fox got lucky. There's no question. Kevin Burkhardt, Joe Davis, both incredible. But no, Joe Buck's incredible. I disagree on that point at the end there.
But I've always wanted to have him on the show.
Yep.
And I've tried. Mm-hmm. I remember I almost got him at the U.S. Open.
Yep.
I'm talking about the U.S. Women's Open. I almost got him. In fact, I almost got him at the U.S. Open, the men's tournament as well. Because I always wanted to tell him, I said, I don't care what he says. You're damn good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Yep.
Buck was able to overcome his reputation as overrated. Or the product of nepotism, establishing himself.
See, the second part,
the nepotism, it's always going to be brought up.
It's always, absolutely.
And that's where, for example, and I say this with all due respect, because I think he's really good and should have nothing to do with it. Noah Eagle's very good.
Yeah.
You do know that time. I hope everybody knows that time and son. Yeah. I pointed out to my brother yesterday. He goes, I never realized that. I said, yeah. One of my favorite quotes from Tim Robinson's wonderfully chaotic Netflix show, I Think You Should Leave, is from season 1's Baby of the Year sketch, when a visibly annoyed Sam Richardson, I don't even know what they're talking about here, says, "They don't stay babies forever, idiot." It's a delightfully absurd quip punctuated by Richardson's exasperated line reading, but also a metaphor for our flavor of the month culture, quick to adopt new trends while dispensing of old ones without a second thought. The shiny new Fox phenom, Greg Olson, a fresh face for the masses, embodying many of the same traits that Romo made popular early in his CBS tenure. Romo may have been a gold standard, but others in the industry caught up to him. Okay.
I think
it is easy to take shots at the top of the mountain.
Agreed.
It always is. The people taking the shots, this is something that always has to be. Now, you always have to work to be better, no matter what.
No question.
There's the old Joe Paterno saying, and this is so right in every single thing that you do in life. You either get better or you get worse. You never stay the same. Okay. Yeah. So you have to have that, whether it's you're a football player, a coach, a broadcaster, in life in general. You either get better or get worse. You never stay the same. Right? So you have to always be figuring out how to be better at the same time. But the people who are criticizing you, now, if it happens to be like network executives or somebody like that, where, look, they sign the paychecks, okay. Or if it happens to be, for example, a mentor, you have to listen to it. Mm-hmm. But somebody taking pot shots at you on Twitter or whatever it may be, you don't have to listen to it. Nope. I mean, because they can't do your job. Now, you have to appeal to the masses. You do have to appeal to the masses. There's no question about that. That's one of the reasons you're there. You're there to supplement the game. You're not the game, but you're there to supplement the game and make the game
picture.
Make the game more enjoyable for the fan, make the game more insightful for the fan. I always say what makes Jack Ham and Dick Girardi special is that when the game is over, you learn more about the game and the sport. That's what makes them special. But wow, that was kind of cruel. Well, you'll be up tonight. I apologize. I
Gonna
probably
do my best not to be Tony Romo. No, he's, and just real quick, he was in a tie. I think it's amazing how his career's gone, because when he took that job, he was criticized widely by a lot of people in the industry because he took over for Phil Simms.
Right.
So I think that was one part, and then
what experience does he have?
Exactly, didn't at all, and then showed why he should belong there.
Right.
And did a great job. And he has scaled back a little bit, I think, at times. And when you're at the top, the only place to go, I think, is, unfortunately, the cliche is reality. You either stay there, you have to do your best to stay at the top, or you fall. And that's where Romo has to show that he's still at the top.
Well, we all know you'll be on top of your game tonight.
Looking forward to it. First trip to Hollidaysburg in a couple of years here. Looking forward to it.
And don't forget to say hi to Coach H.
Absolutely.
Because you don't feel like saying the entire name.
I could say Delatre. We just never did. He gets a chuckle out of Coach Hober. I could call him AD Hober, too. He's both.
Well, we'll be back.